Have you ever wondered what the first version of Magic Rampage was? What were the stages of developing and where did the inspiration come from? Well, me too, which is why today we are answering the question, how was Magic Rampage made? Initial plan. The initial plan was to make a Metroidvania style game, except that the gameplay would need to be separated into smaller stages instead of one big world. The main goals were to make the game playable on mobile devices, joysticks and gamepads, meaning that the player controls would need serious optimization. The player would be allowed to customize his character and pick up weapons and armors which could be equipped and influence the character look and power. The game would also need to be free, since the previous project of Asanti Games called Magic Portals reached 90% piracy among the players. December 13th, 2012, first prototype. The first prototype looked nothing like the current game, however, it shares similarities with Magic Portals. The pieces of scenery you see were taken from Super Mario World, which was one of the games that inspired the making of Magic Rampage. The gameplay itself was quite simple, the player could just move and jump. December 20th, 2012, customization ability. After 1 week of development, the system to equip the armor, hair and face was introduced. At first, Andre wanted to make a short-range combat like The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, but later he realized that it would take too long and be too expensive to make something like that. Also, the smartphones in those years were not that great, so it would probably cause performance issues. Since Andre knew short-range combat falls down well, he introduced a gameplay mechanic inspired by the game Ghosts and Goals and the game called Gods, which consists of a player shooting daggers and swords to kill the enemies. December 28th, 2012, Breakables and Loot. Since the combat system was set, it was time to add objects, which could be broken and drop gold and items. At this stage, the particle effects of impact and breaking things have begun to be created. For example, one of the first things added was the creation of shards after the object was destroyed. January 18th, 2013, NPCs and Camera. In the early January, the camera movement was implemented to follow the character as he moves, and since then not many changes were made on it. Afterwards, new blood effects and particles were added to the game, and the damage dealt to the enemy is now being shown above them. Finally, the first NPCs were created, which could react to the player. February 11th, 2013, first inventory. At this point, the system for storing collected items was developed, but how could we see them all? And so the inventory was implemented, which could at first store 16 items, but was later increased to 25 because of lack of the space. As you can see, it does share similarities with the current version of the inventory, however, it is a lot simpler. March 11th, 2013, new Charsets. At this point, the studio, which was responsible for the animation, started replacing test characters with the legit ones, which meant that the further rebalance of the collisions were necessary so that everything remains consistent. Also, every time you change your armor, a curtain will appear. March 22nd, 2013, Patrolling AI. With most key features being finished, it was time to start working on the smarter enemies. A simple patrolling AI was finished, which included millions of different behavior combinations. April 20th, 2013, Character Editor. The ability to select different slots and edit your character's head, eyes, eye color and body color was introduced. However, the first plan was to make player choose a hairstyle too. This was, however, not implemented since it looked too childish, according to Andre. April 30th, 2013, adding missing art components. On this date, the work on tiles elements in the foreground scenario was finished. Life bar, inventory button and various other background images for login screen, etc. were included. Andre also spent weeks finding the right texture compression techniques specific to different manufacturers and GPU types in order to avoid the overuse of video memory. March 24th, 2013, final art update. The employees at Red Panda Studio sent the final textures needed for the level design of a game. A lot of improvements to the previous editions were made, like improved AI of the enemies, polished particle effects and character animation. July 22nd, 2013. Level design and initial story. Finally, after all the work done, Andre started working on the levels and tried to compose a story, which those levels would follow. September 3rd, 2013. Dungeon selection screen. Up to this date, the level selector screen was finished. The initial idea was to make a map in the style of Ghosts and Goblins and Donkey Kong, which show a beautiful illustration that shows where each level takes place. For cost reasons, this idea had to be replaced by a cheaper and simpler alternative, but no less beautiful. September 19th, 2013. Shop. The store was implemented and with it the first form of monetization, buying extra gold. The inspiration for it came for the game Demon's Crest, which recreated a store with a counter and a cellar, where the exposed items were on the shelves in the background. October 18th, 2013. Login and cloud services. The Google Play service was used to implement the cloud login, which is why now you can save up your progress even if you delete the game. Andre particularly disliked coding this, but someone had to do it. Apart from the save system, there were also achievements and top lists which exist up to this day. October 30th, 2013. Screen for buying gold. In this small update, Andre started adding a screen that pops up when you tap on the More Gold icon in the shop. This part was completely finished in December 2013. November 13th, 2013. Home screen. On this day, the first home screen was finished. In comparison with the newest one, the only difference is the logo that is above the press start text. So the only thing that was replaced is this image. November 22nd, 2013. First alpha version. The first alpha version of the game has been released. Android was an excellent platform for testing games since it allows to release a game to a specific group of people in controlled quantity before releasing it globally. There were only 50 people that tested the first version of the game, which was enough to fix bugs and polish what was necessary. December 26th, 2013. The launch and the future. The game was released globally just after Christmas, since it was a period where developers do not usually make much new content in this period. It gave Magic Rampage a small gap to shine. But after more than a year of development, the real work just began. The first version had only 8 dungeons, but the focus was to have 30, including the bosses, bonus dungeons and side quests to make the game feel like a complete product. After the player base has been established, the game will then be released to the iOS, PC and Mac, which already happened. Thank you for watching, guys. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this video. I hope you have a nice day and see ya!